ma'am. This is first class. Economy is that way.
Jessica Parker's voice cut through the cabin of Skyline Airways Flight 447 like a blade. Sharp, dismissive, loaded with assumption. She pointed toward the back of the plane without even glancing at the boarding pass in Maya Thompson's hand. Maya stood frozen in the aisle leather carry-on in one hand, phone in the other. She was dressed simply. Navy hoodie jeans, white sneakers. No designer labels, no jewelry. Just a tired woman heading home after a 16-hour business meeting in downtown Miami. Jessica stepped closer, blocking Maya's path to seat 1A. Her blonde hair was pulled into a perfect bun uniform pressed to crisp lines, smile sharp as broken glass. I don't know how you got past security with a fake boarding pass, but I'm not playing games today. What Jessica didn't know was that the woman she was humiliating owned the airline. Every plane, every seat, every employee contract. And in exactly 43 minutes, when CEO Carlos Rivera learned that Maya had recorded every word, his career would be over. The storm was about to break. But first, it had to build. Before we dive into this story, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments below. And if moments like this make your blood boil the way they did everyone on Flight 447, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Stories like this deserve to be heard, and your support makes sure they reach the people who need to hear them most. Now let's rewind to Tuesday evening, 6:15 p.m. at Miami International Airport Gate B12. Skyline Airways Flight 447 to Denver sits delayed for the third time this month. The gate area buzzes with frustrated passengers checking phones, sighing at departure boards, and wondering if they'll make it home tonight. Maya Thompson sits alone near the window laptop, closed eyes fixed on the darkening sky beyond the terminal glass. At 34, she's built a technology empire from nothing, transforming a garage startup into cloud tech solutions, now a Fortune 500 company worth $4.7 billion. But tonight she's not Maya Thompson, CEO and founder. She's just another passenger in a hoodie, exhausted after a brutal 16-hour negotiation that just netted her another acquisition. 6 months ago, Maya quietly purchased Skyline Airways through a web of shell companies and private equity firms. No press releases, no announcements, no fanfare. The airline's board of directors know her only as the anonymous investor. Even CEO Carlos Rivera has never met the person who signs his paychecks. Maya had specific reasons for the stealth purchase. CloudTech's employee travel data showed a disturbing pattern. Minority employees consistently reported poor treatment on Skyline flights. Complaints buried in HR files. Discrimination disguised as maintaining standards. Problems dismissed as isolated incidents. So Maya decided to fix it from the inside. Buy the company, study the culture, then rebuild it properly. Tonight's flight would be her research. Maya Thompson, billionaire business owner traveling under her real name but without corporate protection. No first-class lounge access, no VIP treatment, no special handling. Just a regular passenger in regular clothes seeing how Skyline treats people who can't fight back. She's about to discover the answer is worse than she imagined. At the gate desk, Maria Santos checks her computer for the third time. The blonde gate agent looks tired, overwhelmed by passenger complaints about the delay. Behind her, the jet bridge stretches toward Flight 447, a Boeing 737-800 that should have departed an hour ago. In the cockpit, Captain Robert Kane 52 reviews the passenger manifest with his usual disdain for commercial flying. 20 years of military and corporate aviation have left him convinced that modern air travel caters too much to the wrong people. His relationship with lead flight attendant Jessica Parker only reinforces this worldview. They share a mutual belief that first class should remain exclusive. Jessica Parker herself stands near the gate, perfect posture, perfect smile, surveying the waiting passengers like a queen evaluating her subjects. At 28, she's spent 4 years cultivating an image of luxury service professional. Her Miami Beach condo, her designer wardrobe, her social media presence. Everything calculated to project success and status. She prides herself on maintaining standards in first class, which often means keeping out people who don't match her mental picture of wealth. Behind them all, Carlos Rivera paces his corner office 3 miles away, unaware that tonight will destroy everything he thinks he knows about running an airline. In 18 months as CEO, he's focused on profits and public relations, leaving operational culture to handle itself. That delegation is about to cost him everything. As boarding begins, Maya stands and joins the line. She holds her phone, checking email one last time before takeoff. The device looks ordinary, but it's connected to enterprise-level cloud storage, encrypted backup servers, and a legal team that operates 24/7. Maya learned long ago that evidence matters more than explanations. She has no idea she'll need it tonight. Maya approaches the aircraft door with her boarding pass clearly visible. First class seat 1A, confirmation FL7789. The gate agent, Maria Santos, glances at it and nods her through the jet bridge. Normal procedure? Standard protocol. Nothing unusual. The trouble starts the moment Maya steps into the first-class cabin. Jessica Parker appears immediately, blocking the narrow aisle with practiced authority. She doesn't look at Maya's boarding pass, doesn't check her phone screen, doesn't ask questions. She just sees a black woman in casual clothes and makes her calculation. "Ma'am, you need to move toward the back of the aircraft." Jessica's voice carries that artificial sweetness flight attendants use when they're absolutely certain they're right. First-class boarding is reserved for our Platinum Elite members. Maya stops confused. She holds up her boarding pass. "I am in first class, seat 1A. Jessica doesn't look at the pass. Instead, she examines Maya's outfit. The navy hoodie with Cloud Tech's small logo, the worn jeans, the white sneakers that have seen too many airport terminals. Her expression hardens. The gate agent probably made an error. Jessica says louder now. Other passengers boarding behind Maya have to squeeze past. This happens sometimes with the app. People think they've upgraded when it's just a glitch. I paid full fare. $3,200. Maya keeps her voice level, professional. Non-refundable ticket purchased at 2:17 p.m. today. Would you like to see my confirmation email? Now Jessica looks annoyed. She glances at the boarding pass briefly, then hands it back without really reading it. I'm sure you have some kind of pass, but seat 1A is reserved for a special guest today. We'll find you something in Economy Plus. Maya feels the familiar weight of assumption settling over the interaction. The presumption that she doesn't belong. The certainty that she must be lying. The casual dismissal of her words, her evidence, her presence. I'm not moving, Maya says simply. This is my assigned seat. Behind Maya, other first-class passengers begin filing past. David Morrison, a tech executive from Denver, watches the exchange with amusement. He's a regular on this route, knows Jessica well, appreciates her attention to detail in keeping first-class exclusive. He settles into seat 1B, designer suit, immaculate platinum status, clear from the way Jessica immediately offers him champagne. Everything all right, Jessica? David asks, though his tone suggests he's enjoying the show. Just sorting out a seating confusion, Jessica replies, then turns back to Maya with renewed authority. Ma'am, I need you to move. You're holding up boarding. Maya checks her phone. 6:47 p.m. The delay means the cabin feels stuffy, overheated. Other passengers squeeze past, some muttering about the holdup. A few glance at Maya with expressions she's seen before. Assumptions made, judgments rendered, sympathy withheld. From row 14, 17-year-old Sofia Gonzalez watches the entire exchange. She's flying alone to visit colleges, her phone always ready for content creation. Something about this interaction feels wrong, important. She discreetly opens her camera app. Look, Jessica says, her patience visibly thinning. I don't have time for this. Either move voluntarily or I'll have to call the captain. Maya takes a breath. In boardrooms, she's faced down hostile investors, predatory competitors, and entitled executives who underestimated her because of her age, race, or gender. But there's something uniquely degrading about being told you don't belong in a space you literally own. Call whoever you need to call, Maya says. I'll be in seat 1A. That's when Jessica makes her first critical mistake. Instead of checking the passenger manifest, calling the gate, or following any standard verification procedure, she lets personal bias override professional protocol. Fine. You asked for this. Jessica reaches for the cabin phone, but she doesn't call the gate or customer service. She calls the cockpit. Captain Kane, I need you in first class immediately. We have an uncooperative passenger who refuses to follow crew instructions. Maya realizes this is escalating beyond a simple seating dispute. She quietly pulls out her phone, opens her voice memo app, and hits record. The device slides into her hoodie pocket microphone positioned upward. Everything from this moment forward will be documented. In the cockpit, Captain Robert Kane hears uncooperative passenger and makes his own assumptions. 20 years of flying have taught him to trust his crew, especially Jessica. He doesn't ask for details, doesn't request clarification, just assumes his authority is needed to resolve whatever problem has arisen. I'll be right there. Kane responds, already annoyed. Jessica smiles with satisfaction. She's escalated the situation to authority, confident that Captain Kane will support her position. She doesn't realize she's just made a recording that will cost her everything. The cabin falls quiet as other passengers sense something serious developing. Sofia Gonzalez starts filming more deliberately. James Mitchell in seat 1C feels uncomfortable but stays silent. David Morrison leans forward with interest, anticipating the resolution of what he sees as a necessary confrontation. Maya stands perfectly still, hands at her sides, voice recorder capturing every sound. She knows what's coming next. She's prepared for it. But knowing doesn't make it less painful. The real fight is about to begin. Captain Robert Kane emerges from the cockpit like a storm front. Broad shoulders, silver hair, uniform decorated with the kind of authority pins that command immediate respect. His presence fills the first-class cabin, and conversations stop. Passengers look up. Flight attendants straighten. Kane takes one look at the situation. Jessica standing near seat 1A. Maya holding her ground with quiet dignity. And makes his assessment. He doesn't ask Maya her side. Doesn't request to see her boarding pass. Doesn't inquire about verification procedures. He sees his lead flight attendant facing off against a black woman in casual clothes, and his loyalty is instant and absolute. Ma'am Kane says, his voice carrying the weight of 20 years in command, federal aviation regulations require all passengers to comply immediately with crew member instructions. You need to move. Maya turns to face him. In her hoodie pocket, the phone continues recording. Captain, I am complying with regulations. I'm sitting in my assigned seat with a valid boarding pass. The crew has asked you to relocate. That's not a suggestion, it's an order. What regulation requires me to give up my paid seat to accommodate someone else's mistake? Kane's jaw tightens. He's not used to passengers questioning his authority, especially not in front of a cabin full of witnesses. Jessica steps closer, emboldened by his support. I told her seat 1A was reserved for a special guest, Jessica says. She's being aggressive and disruptive. Maya's eyebrows raise slightly. I'm being aggressive. I'm standing still and speaking quietly. You're the ones raising your voices. Don't tell me how to do my job. Kane snaps. I've been flying for 2 decades. I know disruptive behavior when I see it. David Morrison chimes in from 1B. Captain, she's clearly in the wrong section. Just have security remove her so we can depart on time. Sofia Gonzalez, in row 14, has her phone aimed at the confrontation, whispering to her TikTok audience. This is insane, y'all. This woman is literally just trying to sit in her seat. Kane doesn't notice the filming. His focus is entirely on asserting control over what he perceives as a challenge to his authority. "Ma'am, this is your final warning. Move to your correct seat or you will be removed from this aircraft." "And what is my correct seat, Captain?" "Whatever seat the crew assigns you." Maya takes a small step forward close enough that her voice will be clear on the recording. "So you're saying I don't have the right to the seat I purchased?" "I'm saying you have the right to follow orders." "Whose orders? I haven't violated any federal regulations. I haven't threatened anyone. I haven't been disruptive. I'm literally just standing here." Kane's face flushes red. He's accustomed to immediate compliance, not logical challenges to his directives. Behind him, Sandra Reeves, a Hispanic flight attendant, watches from the galley with growing discomfort. She's seen Maya's boarding pass. She knows the seat assignment is correct, but challenging Captain Kane means risking her job. The order to move when crew tells you to move, Kane says, his voice rising. "That's federal law." Actually, Captain, federal law requires compliance with lawful crew instructions related to safety. What safety issue does my presence in seat 1A create? The question hangs in the air like a challenge. Kane realizes he doesn't have a good answer. His authority is being questioned by logic, and he doesn't like it. Jessica jumps in to help. She's creating a disturbance, making other passengers uncomfortable. Maya looks around the cabin. Some passengers are indeed uncomfortable, but not because of her behavior. They're uncomfortable because they're witnessing something that feels wrong. Sofia Gonzalez is actively filming in support. James Mitchell looks troubled by the confrontation. Even some economy passengers have stopped boarding to watch. "I see passengers who are uncomfortable," Maya says calmly. "But it seems like they're uncomfortable with your treatment of me, not my presence here." That statement hits its mark. Kane realizes the optics are bad, but he's committed to his position now. Backing down would look like weakness, so he doubles down. "Your attitude is the problem. Arguing with crew, questioning orders, refusing to cooperate. That's enough." Kane reaches for his radio. "Control, this is Flight 447. I need airport police to the gate. We have a non-compliant passenger refusing crew instructions." Maya's heart rate spikes, but her voice remains steady. "Captain Kane, you're making a serious mistake. The only mistake was letting you board in the first place." The words cut through the cabin like a knife. Several passengers gasp audibly. Sofia Gonzalez whispers to her phone. "Did he just say what I think he said?" Kane realizes his error immediately, but the words are already spoken, already recorded, already witnessed by dozens of people, several of whom are filming. He can't take them back, so he tries to regain control through intimidation. "That's it. You're off this plane. Gather your belongings." "I'm not going anywhere," Maya says firmly. "I've done nothing wrong. You've done everything wrong. Arguing, disrupting, refusing lawful orders, that's federal charges right there." Maya pulls out her phone, the same device that's been recording everything. Kane sees it and panics. "Put that away. Recording is prohibited on this aircraft." "Actually, Captain, it's not. I'm in a public space documenting a civil rights violation." Kane reaches for the phone, but Maya steps back smoothly. "Don't touch my property. Give me that device now." The simple refusal seems to break something in Kane's composure. He's used to absolute authority, immediate compliance, unquestioned obedience. Maya's calm defiance in front of witnesses undermines everything he thinks he knows about command structure. Security Kane shouts toward the gate. "I need security immediately." Maya looks directly at him, speaking clearly for the recording. "Captain Robert Kane of Skyline Airways Flight 447. You are removing me from this aircraft because I refuse to give up my assigned first-class seat. Is that correct? I'm removing you because you're a security threat." What action have I taken that threatens security? Kane realizes he's trapped by his own words. Every answer he gives creates more evidence of discrimination. But he's too deep in now to retreat. Your refusal to follow orders is the threat. The order to abandon my paid seat for no legitimate reason, for whatever reason I deem necessary. The cabin falls silent, except for the hum of auxiliary power and the sound of Sophia's whispered commentary to her phone. Even David Morrison looks uncomfortable now. Kane's mask has slipped, revealing the authoritarian mindset beneath his professional exterior. Maya nods slowly. "Thank you for clarifying your position, Captain. I'm sure it will be very helpful in the investigation." Kane's eyes narrow. What investigation? Maya doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. The question hangs in the air like a threat Kane doesn't yet understand. Airport police radio chatter echoes from the jet bridge. Heavy footsteps approach. Kane straightens his uniform, confident that law enforcement will support his authority and remove the problematic passenger. He has no idea that he's just created the evidence that will destroy his career. Officer Maria Martinez and Officer James Williams enter the first-class cabin with the professional wariness of airport security dealing with their fifth passenger incident of the day. Martinez is 29, sharp-eyed, with 8 years of experience reading situations quickly. Williams is 41, a veteran who's seen every kind of air travel drama possible. Both wear body cameras, activated the moment they receive the call. "What's the situation?" Martinez asks, looking between Kane and Maya. Kane immediately takes charge. "Officers, we have a passenger who has refused multiple direct orders from flight crew. She's been verbally aggressive, threatening staff, and creating a disturbance that's delayed our departure." Maya stays calm, hands visible, posture non-threatening. Years of being the only black woman in corporate boardrooms taught her how to navigate situations where authority figures make assumptions about her character. "Ma'am, is this accurate?" Williams asks Maya directly. "No, officer. I've been standing quietly in my assigned seat. I have a valid first-class boarding pass confirmation number, FL89, purchased and paid in full. I haven't threatened anyone or violated any regulations." Jessica steps forward, emboldened by police presence. "That's not true. She said if we didn't let her stay in first class, we'd regret it." Maya turns to look at Jessica directly. "I said no such thing. I heard it clearly." David Morrison calls out from seat 1B. Very threatening tone. Said she had connections that could get people fired. The lie is so blatant that Sofia Gonzalez speaks up from row 14. "That's not what happened. She never said anything threatening." Williams raises a hand to quiet the cabin. "Let's take this one step at a time. Miss, may I see your boarding pass?" Maya hands over her phone, showing the digital pass clearly. Williams examines it carefully. First class seat 1A, paid in full, valid confirmation. No red flags. "This appears to be legitimate," Williams says to Kane. What's the issue with this passenger sitting in her assigned seat? Kane realizes the questioning isn't going as planned. The issue is her attitude, officer. When crew gives instructions, passengers follow them. She's been argumentative from the moment she boarded. What instructions, specifically, to move to a different seat? For what reason, Kane hesitates. The honest answer, that they wanted to give her seat to someone else, sounds problematic when stated directly to police. Jessica jumps in. Seat 1A was reserved for a VIP passenger. There was a booking error. Martinez looks at her suspiciously. If there was a booking error, don't you have procedures for that compensation rebooking supervisor involvement? Well, yes, but she refused to cooperate with the resolution. Maya speaks up quietly. Officers, they never offered compensation, rebooking, or supervisor involvement. They simply told me to move to economy because seat 1A was needed for someone else. Williams is starting to smell something fishy. Captain, is it standard procedure to remove passengers from seats they've paid for to accommodate other bookings? Kane realizes he's being cornered by proper procedure. It's standard procedure for passengers to follow crew instructions without argument. That doesn't answer my question. The tension in the cabin ratchets higher. Other passengers sense the police are starting to doubt the crew's story. Sofia Gonzalez continues filming her view count climbing as viewers share the live stream. That's when Jessica makes her fatal mistake. "Officers, I need to tell you something else." When I asked her to move, she became physically aggressive. She stepped toward me threateningly and raised her hand like she was going to strike me. The accusation hits the cabin like a thunderbolt. Maya's eyes widen in shock. Several passengers gasp. Even Kane looks surprised by the escalation. "That is absolutely false," Maya says firmly. I have not moved from this spot except to step back when the captain reached for my phone. I saw the aggressive posture David Morrison adds, doubling down on supporting the crew. Very intimidating behavior. Sofia Gonzalez can't stay quiet anymore. That's a complete lie. I've been filming this whole thing. She never moved toward anyone. Williams turns toward the teenager. "You've been recording this interaction." "Yes, sir. The whole thing on TikTok Live. She never threatened anyone or acted aggressive. She's been calm the entire time." Jessica's face goes pale. She hadn't noticed the filming, hadn't realized her false accusations were being documented in real time. Kane looks stunned as he realizes the implications. Martinez addresses Maya. "Ma'am, do you have any recording of these events?" Maya pulls out her phone. "Yes. I've been voice recording since Captain Kane was called to first class. Everything is documented and automatically uploaded to secure cloud storage." "She can't record on the plane," Jessica shouts, panic creeping into her voice. "That's illegal." Williams shakes his head. "Actually, passengers have the right to record interactions with crew in public areas of the aircraft as long as they're not interfering with safety operations." Kane's authority is crumbling. The police clearly doubt his crew's credibility. Multiple passengers are contradicting Jessica's story. A teenager has live-streamed the entire interaction to potentially thousands of viewers, and Maya has audio evidence of everything. But Kane has committed too far to retreat now. His pride, his authority, his relationship with Jessica, everything depends on being right about this situation. "Officers, I don't care what recordings exist. I am the captain of this aircraft. When I order a passenger removed, that passenger gets removed. Federal regulation gives me that authority." Martinez and Williams exchange glances. Kane's attitude is becoming part of the problem. "Captain, federal regulation gives you authority to remove passengers for legitimate safety reasons," Martinez explains carefully. "But we need to determine if those reasons exist here. The reason is failure to comply with crew instructions. The instruction to give up her paid seat for no valid cause. The instruction to move when told to move." Kane's voice is rising now, his composure slipping. Maya watches with growing confidence as the authority figures recognize the weakness of the crew's position. "Officers," Maya says calmly, "I'd like to point out that I've been threatened with removal, accused of threatening behavior I didn't engage in, and falsely accused of physical aggression. All of this is documented. I believe this constitutes discrimination and false reporting." Williams nods slowly. "Ma'am, those are serious allegations. If you have evidence supporting them." "I have 47 minutes of audio documentation plus whatever video this young lady captured." Sofia Gonzalez waves her phone. "I got everything. My followers are already calling this discrimination." Kane finally snaps. All his authority, all his experience, all his assumptions about command structure collapse in the face of evidence and witness testimony that contradict his version of events. "I don't care what recordings you have," Kane shouts. "I don't care what some kid thinks she saw. I am the captain of this aircraft, and I want this passenger removed immediately." The cabin falls dead silent. Kane's outburst has revealed exactly who he is. Not a professional pilot making safety decisions, but an authoritarian bully who can't handle being challenged by a black woman with evidence. Martinez makes a decision. "Captain, I think we need to step outside and discuss this situation with your supervisor and our commanding officer." "No, I want her arrested for failure to comply with crew instructions and verbal assault on flight crew. Williams looks at Kane with growing concern. Sir, based on witness testimony and available recordings, I don't see evidence supporting those charges. Then you're not doing your job. That crosses the line. Williams straightens up, his professional demeanor hardening. Captain, I need you to step back and lower your voice. Kane realizes he's just challenged police authority the same way Maya challenged his. But unlike Maya, Kane doesn't have evidence or witnesses supporting his position. He only has his wounded pride and crumbling authority. Fine, Kane says through gritted teeth. Arrest her for trespassing, then. She's on my aircraft without permission. Maya almost smiles. Actually, Captain, I think you'll find I have more permission to be on this aircraft than you realize. The cryptic comment confuses everyone except Maya. She knows something they don't, and her confidence is starting to unnerve even the officers. Martinez makes the call that will change everything. Ma'am, would you be willing to come with us to discuss this situation in a more private setting? Not under arrest, just to sort out the facts. Maya considers the request. She could refuse demand, they check her credentials, reveal her identity right now. But she wants the full experience. She wants to see how far they'll take this. She wants complete documentation of Skyline's culture. I'll come with you, Maya says. But I want it noted that I'm being removed from my paid seat against my will based on false accusations after following all regulations and crew instructions. Noted Williams says, shooting a glare at Kane. As Maya gathers her carry-on, Sofia Gonzalez calls out, I'm posting everything. This is going viral. Kane turns toward the teenager. Put that phone away. It's my phone and we're in a public space, Sofia replies confidently. And I have 2.3 million followers who are about to see exactly how Skyline Airways treats its passengers. Kane's face goes white. 2.3 million followers means this incident is already spreading beyond his control. Corporate will hear about this within hours. His career may already be over. But he doesn't know yet that the passenger he's having arrested is the person who owns the company he works for. That revelation is still 20 minutes away. Sofia Gonzalez sits in seat 14C, her phone propped against the window addressing an audience that grows larger by the minute. At 17, she's built a following of 2.1 million on TikTok through college prep content and social justice advocacy. But tonight's stream is unlike anything she's ever posted. Okay, y'all, I'm literally shaking right now. Sofia whispers to her camera. I just witnessed the most blatant discrimination I've ever seen, and I got it all on video. The comment section explodes with questions and reactions. Viewers type rapidly as Sofia explains what happened. Sofia's viewer count climbs 15,847, 18,203, 21,556. Her followers are sharing the stream across platforms, spreading the hashtag #SkylineShame faster than her phone can track notifications. Listen, this woman, Maya Thompson. She was so calm and dignified through this whole thing, Sofia continues. She never raised her voice, never threatened anyone, just tried to sit in the seat she paid for. And they arrested her. Sofia scrolls through her camera roll showing clips she captured during the confrontation. Her followers see Jessica Parker's dismissive expression, Captain Kane's angry gesturing, David Morrison's smug support of the crew. Most importantly, they see Maya's composed responses to escalating aggression. The flight attendant straight up lied to police, Sofia says, her voice rising with indignation. Said this woman threatened her and got physical. Complete fabrication. I have video proving it never happened. Sofia's phone buzzes with direct messages from journalists, activists, and legal advocates. Major news accounts are asking for permission to use her footage. The story is spreading beyond social media into mainstream coverage. I'm getting messages from reporters asking to interview me, Sofia tells her audience. Should I do it? The response is unanimous. Yes. Sofia realizes she's holding evidence that could change airline policies industry-wide. Her teenage activism has stumbled onto a case study in corporate discrimination. Okay, I'm going to start backing up everything to cloud storage, Sophia announces. If Skyline tries to make this disappear, we'll have copies everywhere. She opens multiple apps uploading the same videos to Google Drive, iCloud, Dropbox, and TikTok's private storage. Her followers guide her through additional backup strategies in real time. Sophia follows the advice, creating an unbreakable chain of evidence. Every video, every comment, every timestamp gets preserved across multiple platforms and organizations. The woman being arrested, Maya Thompson, she was recording audio the whole time Sophia explains to her audience. So we have visual evidence, audio evidence, and witness testimony. This airline is going to face serious consequences. As Sophia's stream continues, her follower count passes 50,000 concurrent viewers. The hashtag Skyline Shame becomes the top trending topic in the United States. News outlets embed her videos in breaking stories. Legal experts analyze her footage on live television. Y'all, this is bigger than just one airline, Sophia says, her voice gaining confidence as she realizes the impact of her documentation. This is about how Black women get treated when they demand basic respect. Maya Thompson showed us what dignity looks like under pressure. The power of witness documentation in the digital age reveals itself in real time. Sophia's phone has become a weapon against discrimination, her audience a jury of millions, her platform a courtroom where evidence speaks louder than authority. In seat 1C, James Mitchell stares at his iPhone finger hovering over the share button. The 35-year-old business consultant has just recorded the most troubling interaction he's witnessed on an aircraft. Unlike Sophia's public live stream, James filmed quietly, discreetly capturing angles that show the full scope of the discrimination. James built his career on reading room dynamics, understanding power structures, recognizing when situations require documentation for legal protection. His footage focuses on the official actors: Jessica Parker's refusal to examine Maya's boarding pass, Captain Kane's aggressive posturing, David Morrison's encouraging comments. "This is insane," James mutters, reviewing his video. The footage clearly shows Jessica pointing toward economy without looking at Maya's documentation. It captures Kane emerging from the cockpit already hostile, already committed to supporting his crew regardless of evidence. Most damaging is the audio James captured during the false accusations. Jessica claiming Maya threatened her, followed immediately by Maya's calm denial, David Morrison jumping in to support Jessica's lie. The contrast between Maya's consistent composure and the crew's escalating aggression creates a stark narrative. James opens his Instagram and starts typing a caption, "Witnessed discrimination in real time on Skyline Air Flight 447. This passenger did everything right. Valid ticket, calm demeanor, factual responses. She was arrested for the crime of existing while Black in first class. This is 2024. This is unacceptable." He tags the airline, adds hashtags, and includes location data. But before posting, James hesitates. He's a white male business traveler with corporate clients who might not appreciate social justice activism. Posting this video could affect his professional relationships. Then James remembers Maya's dignity under pressure, her refusal to be intimidated, her quiet strength while facing false accusations. She deserves allies who are willing to speak up. James hits post. Within minutes, his professional network responds. Business contacts share the video with comments like, "This is horrifying," and "How is this legal?" His post gets picked up by aviation industry groups, business travel forums, and corporate diversity initiatives. James realizes his business credentials give the story additional legitimacy. When a white male business traveler calls out discrimination, corporate audiences pay attention differently than when victims or activists speak out. His comment section fills with similar stories. "I've seen this happen multiple times on flights. Black colleagues tell me about experiences like this constantly. Thank you for using your platform to support justice. This is what allyship looks like in action." James screenshots the reactions and sends them to local news outlets. His professional perspective provides mainstream media with a credible witness narrative they can use in coverage. Throughout Flight 447, other passengers captured pieces of the discrimination incident. Their combined documentation creates a comprehensive record that eliminates any possibility of alternative narratives or false claims. Margaret Stevens, 64, in Seat 2A, filmed Maya's initial interaction with Jessica Parker. Her footage shows Jessica's immediate dismissal without examining documentation. Margaret, a retired teacher from Denver, captions her Facebook post. "In 40 years of education, I learned to recognize bias. This is textbook discrimination." Eduardo Ramirez in Seat 3F captured Captain Kane's entrance and immediate hostility. As a union organizer from Phoenix, Eduardo recognizes abuse of authority when he sees it. His video focuses on Kane's body language, the aggressive posturing, the refusal to investigate the assumptions based on appearance. This captain decided this passenger was guilty before asking any questions. Eduardo comments on his union Facebook group. Classic example of authority bias. Hope this woman sues them into bankruptcy. The teenage basketball team from Miami Central High, seated in rows 12-15, coordinate their recording efforts. Multiple phones capture different angles of the false accusations and arrest. Their coach, Maria Santos, ensures all players back up their videos immediately. Young men coach Santos tells her team, "You just witnessed why we talk about recording police interactions." This woman's dignity under pressure is a masterclass in civil rights. The players share their footage across Snapchat, Instagram, and group chats. High school social networks spread the story faster than news outlets can track. Business passengers in premium economy add professional credibility to witness testimony. Sarah Kim, a corporate lawyer flying to Denver for depositions, recognizes the legal implications immediately. This interaction violates multiple federal regulations, Sarah posts on LinkedIn. The passenger was discriminated against, falsely accused, and arrested without cause. I'm offering pro bono legal assistance if she wants to pursue civil rights charges. Sarah's LinkedIn post gets shared by legal professionals across the country. Civil rights attorneys offer assistance. Corporate diversity officers share the video in training materials. The story spreads through professional networks that influence policy and practice. Maya's voice recording uploads automatically to CloudTech's enterprise security servers, the same infrastructure that protects Fortune 500 companies from data loss and cyber attacks. Every word, every timestamp, every audio signature gets encrypted, verified, and stored across multiple geographic locations. The technical sophistication of Maya's documentation becomes apparent to anyone investigating the incident. This isn't a casual phone recording that might be questioned or dismissed. This is enterprise-grade evidence with legal admissibility built into the architecture. 3 backup copies exist before Maya even reaches the security office. Primary storage on CloudTech's Miami servers. Secondary backup on Atlanta servers. Tertiary storage on West Coast disaster recovery systems. Each copy includes metadata proving authenticity, GPS coordinates device, signatures, timestamp verification, and voice pattern analysis that confirm the recording wasn't edited or manipulated. Maya's legal team receives automatic notifications as soon as the recording hits cloud storage. Within minutes of the incident, attorneys begin preparing civil rights violation cases, FAA complaints, and corporate discrimination lawsuits. The combination of Sophia's viral social media documentation, James Mitchell's business network amplification, multiple passenger witness videos, and Maya's enterprise-grade audio evidence creates an unbreakable record of discrimination. By 8:30 p.m., news outlets have more documentation of this single incident than most civil rights cases gather in months of investigation. The evidence is overwhelming, undeniable, and spreading faster than Skyline Airways can control. Corporate crisis management protocols activate, but there's no managing this crisis. The evidence speaks for itself, and it's already everywhere. Maya sits in the small security office, phone in hand, watching social media explode with footage from Flight 447. Officer Martinez has granted her request to contact legal representation, not knowing that Maya's legal representative manages the corporate defense of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Sarah, it's Maya. Execute plan. Alpha. Maya says into her phone. On the other end, Sarah Kim, head of legal affairs for Cloud Tech Solutions and Maya's personal attorney for 8 years, responds with immediate efficiency. Understood. Full corporate disclosure. Full disclosure. It's time. Sarah Kim sits in her Atlanta office, surrounded by legal documents and computer screens. As one of the nation's top civil rights attorneys, she's prepared for this moment since Maya first mentioned buying an airline to study discrimination patterns. Tonight, those patterns have revealed themselves with stunning clarity. Maya, I'm watching the TikTok footage now. We have ironclad documentation of discrimination, false accusations, and civil rights violations. Are you safe? I'm fine. 2 professional officers are handling this properly. But Sarah, I need you to contact Carlos Rivera immediately. Tell him exactly who he just had arrested. Sarah opens her laptop and begins executing protocols developed months ago. Emergency press releases, legal documentation, corporate disclosure requirements, board notifications, media coordination. Maya, once I make this call, there's no controlling the narrative. Carlos Rivera will know his anonymous owner is sitting in airport security after being discriminated against by his own employees. That's exactly what I want him to know. Maya provides Sarah with officer contact information, flight details, and witness names. Within minutes, Sarah's legal team mobilizes with the efficiency of a major corporation protecting its most valuable asset. But Maya isn't just any valuable asset. She's the owner. Officer Williams watches Maya's phone conversation with growing curiosity. Most passengers in discrimination situations are emotional angry, seeking immediate vindication. Maya speaks like someone accustomed to managing crises, someone who understands corporate structures and legal processes. Ms. Thompson-Williams says after Maya hangs up, "Your attorney sounds very well prepared." Maya smiles slightly. Sarah Kim is excellent at her job. She's handled some very high-profile cases. Martinez's computer terminal chimes with an incoming priority message. He reads the screen and frowns. "Ma'am, I'm getting a call from Skyline Airways corporate office. They want to speak with you directly." That was fast. Williams looks confused. Most discrimination complaints take days to reach corporate attention. This is happening in real time. Maya's phone rings. She glances at the caller ID, Carlos Rivera, CEO, Skyline Airways. The call she's been anticipating. Should I answer it? Maya asks the officers. "It's your choice," Martinez replies. "But they can't discuss the incident without your consent." Maya accepts the call and puts it on speaker so the officers can hear. Ms. Thompson. This is Carlos Rivera, CEO of Skyline Airways. I understand there was an incident on Flight 447 involving discrimination allegations. Maya looks directly at the officers. Mr. Rivera, I was arrested after your captain and flight attendant refused to let me sit in my assigned first-class seat. The entire incident was recorded and is currently trending on social media. Carlos's voice carries genuine distress. Ms. Thompson, I've seen the video footage. The behavior you experienced is absolutely unacceptable and does not represent Skyline's values. I want to personally apologize and discuss how we can make this right. What do you propose? Full refund first-class upgrades for a year and a personal meeting to discuss policy improvements. This incident is already causing significant damage to our reputation, and rightfully so. Maya exchanges glances with Officers Martinez and Williams. Both look surprised by the CEO's immediate response and generous offer. Mr. Rivera, do you know who you're speaking with? I know you're a passenger who was wrongfully discriminated against by my employees. I know our company failed you completely. Beyond that, I'm hoping you'll help me understand how to prevent this from ever happening again. Maya takes a breath. The moment of revelation has arrived. Mr. Rivera. My full name is Maya Thompson. I'm the founder and CEO of Cloud Tech Solutions. 6 months ago, I purchased Skyline Airways through shell companies and private equity firms. I own 78% of your airline. The silence on the phone stretches for 30 seconds. Officers Martinez and Williams stare at Maya with sudden understanding. The confident demeanor, the sophisticated legal team, the enterprise-grade recording equipment. It all makes sense now. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Carlos's voice sounds strangled. I own your company, Mr. Rivera. Your captain and flight attendant just arrested their boss for trying to sit in first class. 3 miles away, Carlos Rivera sits in his executive office staring at his computer screen in absolute shock. The woman whose arrest has triggered a PR nightmare, whose discrimination experience is trending globally, whose treatment has cost his company millions in stock value. She owns the airline. Sarah Kim is online too, his assistant announces through the intercom. She says it's regarding Maya Thompson and legal disclosure requirements. Carlos picks up line 2 with trembling hands. This is Carlos Rivera. Mr. Rivera. This is Sarah Kim, legal counsel for Maya Thompson and Cloud Tech Solutions. I believe you've just spoken with my client. Ms. Kim? Is she really the owner of Skyline Airways? Yes, Mr. Rivera. Ms. Thompson holds controlling interest through a network of investment vehicles managed by Cloud Tech. She's been your anonymous investor for 6 months. Carlos pulls up his investor files, searching frantically for confirmation. Anonymous Investor Group, Alpha $2.3 billion acquisition controlling shares transferred through private equity firm Henderson & Associates. The Henderson Group represents Maya Thompson among others. Mr. Rivera. Ms. Thompson purchased Skyline specifically to study and reform discriminatory practices in the airline industry. Tonight's incident provides exactly the evidence she expected to find. Carlos realizes the full scope of his crisis. His employees didn't just discriminate against a random passenger, they discriminated against the company owner while she was conducting undercover research into discrimination patterns. Ms. Kim, what does Ms. Thompson want? Justice, Mr. Rivera, for herself and every other passenger who faces this treatment without the resources to fight back. Carlos opens his laptop and reviews the social media explosion. Sofia Gonzalez's TikTok has 12 million views. James Mitchell's Instagram post is being shared by business networks across the country. News outlets are calling this the worst airline discrimination incident since David Dow. His phone buzzes with text messages from board members, investors, and industry colleagues. The stock price continues falling. Boycott threats multiply across social platforms. Skyline's reputation is collapsing in real time. What can we do to address this situation? First, immediate termination of the employees involved. Second, comprehensive policy reform with external oversight. Third, substantial investment in discrimination prevention and bias training. Fourth, public accountability that goes beyond standard corporate apologies. Carlos understands he's being presented with terms, not suggestions. Ms. Kim, I need to understand. Why didn't Ms. Thompson identify herself during the incident? She could have avoided arrest entirely. Mr. Rivera, that's exactly the point. Ms. Thompson wanted to experience what your airline's culture does to people who can't identify themselves as the owner. She wanted authentic evidence of how Skyline treats black passengers, women passengers, any passenger who doesn't fit your staff's definition of belonging in first class. The strategic brilliance becomes clear. Maya didn't just buy an airline to reform it. She engineered a case study in discrimination that's now documented with unprecedented detail and spreading to millions of viewers worldwide. What happens next, Ms. Thompson will be returning to her office shortly. I suggest you prepare for a very different kind of board meeting tomorrow. Back in the security office, Maya plays portions of her 47-minute recording for officers Martinez and Williams. The audio quality is crystal clear. Enterprise-grade recording equipment captures every word, every tone, every discriminatory assumption. Jessica Parker's voice fills the small room. This is the first-class cabin, Mom. Economy is that way. Williams winces at the dismissive tone. Martinez shakes her head at the immediate assumption that Maya didn't belong in first class. Captain Kane's voice follows. Some people don't belong in first class. That's going to be hard to explain. Martinez observes. Maya fast-forwards to the false accusations officers. I need to tell you something else. When I asked her to move, she became physically aggressive. Williams looks at Maya. You never moved from your position during our interaction. This recording contradicts everything they told us. It contradicts everything they told you because they were lying. Maya continues playing the recording. David Morrison's support of the crew. Jessica's fabricated assault claims Kane's admission that he wanted Maya removed regardless of regulations. Every discriminatory statement preserved with legal-grade documentation. Ms. Thompson. Maya. This recording provides overwhelming evidence of discrimination and false police reporting, Martinez says. Are you pressing charges? I'm considering comprehensive legal action, but not just against individuals. This incident reveals cultural problems that require institutional solutions. Officers Martinez and Williams exchange glances. They've handled hundreds of passenger complaints, but never one involving an airline owner documenting discrimination against herself. Ma'am, you understand this is going to trigger federal investigations? Williams asks. Federal Aviation Administration, Department of Transportation, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and potentially Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, Maya confirms. I've been preparing for this possibility since I bought the airline. The scope of Maya's planning becomes evident. This wasn't a spontaneous undercover operation. This was a carefully orchestrated investigation into airline industry discrimination using herself as the test case. Why reveal your identity now? Martinez asks. Because I have enough evidence to prove the problems exist. Now I can use my position to implement solutions. Maya's phone buzzes with notifications. Stock price alerts, news mentions, social media tags. The revelation of her identity is spreading as quickly as the original discrimination footage. Ms. Thompson, what's your next step? Maya stands and gathers her belongings. My next step is to return to my airline and start fixing the culture that allowed tonight's incident to happen. She shakes hands with both officers. Thank you for your professionalism. Your handling of this situation will be noted in my report. As Maya leaves the security office, officers Martinez and Williams watch through the window as she walks toward the terminal exit. Neither has ever handled a complaint where the victim owned the company she was complaining about. Think she'll really change things? Williams asks. Martinez reviews the paperwork documenting discrimination, false accusations, and civil rights violations. After tonight, I think she'll change everything. At 8:47 p.m., Jessica Parker sits in her Miami Beach apartment scrolling through her phone in growing horror. Sofia Gonzalez's TikTok video has exploded across every social platform. The hashtag Skyline Shame is trending globally. News outlets are calling it the worst airline discrimination incident in recent memory. And Jessica's face is everywhere. Screenshots of her dismissive expression, her refusal to examine Maya's boarding pass, her false accusations to police, all captured in high-definition video and spread to millions of viewers. Comments pour in beneath every post. This flight attendant should be fired immediately. Disgusting racist behavior in 2024. How is this woman still employed? Skyline. Airways needs to answer for this. Jessica's personal Instagram, previously filled with aspirational lifestyle content and inspirational quotes, becomes flooded with negative comments. Her profile picture, a glamorous shot from a friend's yacht party, now appears beneath news headlines about workplace discrimination. Her phone rings. Regional Manager Rebecca Foster's name appears on the caller ID. Jessica. Where are you right now? At home? Rebecca. This whole thing is being blown out of proportion. The passenger was aggressive and Jessica stopped talking. "I've watched the video footage. I've heard the audio recording. You lied about everything." The words hit like a physical blow. Rebecca Foster has supervised Jessica for 2 years, generally supporting her maintaining standards approach to first-class service. But the evidence is overwhelming. She was acting suspicious. "You know how these people try to scam their way," Jessica finished that sentence, "and you'll be facing additional discrimination charges on top of the ones already being filed." Rebecca plays audio from Maya's recording through her office speakers. Jessica hears her own voice. "This is the first-class cabin, Mom. Economy is that way. You never looked at her boarding pass." "Jessica, the audio proves it. The video shows it. Multiple witnesses confirm it." Jessica's voice breaks. "I was protecting first-class standards. That's what you trained me to do. I trained you to verify documentation and follow procedures. I never trained you to make assumptions based on how passengers dress or what race they are." The recording continues with Jessica's false claims about threatening behavior, her fabricated assault accusations, her increasingly desperate lies to support unjustifiable actions. Jessica: "I've spoken with corporate legal. They're recommending immediate termination for discrimination, filing false police reports, and bringing negative publicity to the company. You can't fire me. I've been loyal to this company for 4 years. Your loyalty included arresting the woman who owns the airline." The words don't register immediately. Jessica hears them but doesn't process their meaning. "What do you mean owns the airline? Maya Thompson is the founder of Cloud Tech Solutions and the controlling shareholder of Skyline Airways. You arrested your boss, Jessica. You falsely accused the owner of the company of assault and had her dragged off her own airplane." Jessica drops her phone. The reality crashes over her like cold water. The calm, dignified woman she dismissed as not belonging in first class owns every seat on every plane Skyline operates. "Rebecca. Rebecca. Are you there? I'm here. Jessica, and I'm sending your termination letter via email. Please return your uniform badge and company property to the Miami hub tomorrow morning." Wait. This has to be some kind of mistake. She couldn't be the owner. She was dressed like a regular passenger. That's exactly the point, Jessica. She wanted to see how Skyline treats regular passengers. Your behavior gave her all the evidence she needed. Jessica stares at her phone screen showing missed calls from news reporters, angry messages from friends who've seen the viral videos, and notifications from LinkedIn, contacts distancing themselves from her profile. Her Miami Beach apartment, financed by first-class flight attendant wages and tips from wealthy passengers, suddenly feels unstable. Her social media presence, built on luxury travel content, becomes a liability. Her career in aviation, her professional identity, her future prospects, all destroyed in 47 minutes of documented discrimination. Rebecca, what am I supposed to do now? You're supposed to face the consequences of your actions, Jessica, and pray that Maya Thompson is more forgiving than you were. The line goes dead. Jessica sits alone in her apartment, watching her face appear on news broadcasts as an example of workplace discrimination in the aviation industry. Her phone buzzes with interview requests from journalists investigating airline bias, legal inquiries from civil rights attorneys, and cancellation notices from companies ending brand partnerships. By morning, Jessica Parker's name will be synonymous with everything wrong with airline customer service culture. Captain Robert Kane receives his emergency summons at 9:15 p.m. while sitting in his home office reviewing flight logs. 20 years of military and commercial aviation have trained him to respond immediately to official communications. But tonight's call from Skyline Corporate makes his blood run cold. Captain Kane, this is Director of Flight Operations, Michael Harrison. I need you in the office immediately for emergency consultation regarding Flight 447. Kane drives through Miami traffic knowing his career hangs in the balance. The passenger incident has spiraled beyond normal complaint procedures into viral social media coverage and mainstream news attention. But Kane doesn't yet understand the full scope of his mistake. In the Skyline corporate office, Director Harrison sits across from Kane with audio recording equipment and legal documentation spread across the conference table. "Captain, I'm going to play recording captured during tonight's incident. I need you to explain your decision-making process." Kane listens to his own voice escalating aggression toward Maya Thompson, his commands to move without examining evidence, his refusal to investigate passenger documentation, his admission that some people don't belong in first class. "Michael, you have to understand the context. The passenger was being argumentative and disruptive. Captain, I've reviewed witness testimony from multiple passengers. The video evidence shows a calm professional woman trying to sit in her assigned seat. Your behavior appears to be the primary source of disruption." Harrison plays Jessica Parker's false accusations about threatening behavior and physical aggression. Then he plays Maya's consistent factual responses denying the fabricated claims. "You supported these accusations without investigation, Captain. You called police to arrest a passenger based on false testimony." Kane realizes his loyalty to Jessica Parker has been weaponized against an innocent passenger, but he still doesn't understand the magnitude of his error. "I trusted my crew's assessment of the situation." "Your crew lied to you, Captain, and rather than verify their claims, you escalated to arrest." Harrison opens a laptop and shows Kane the social media explosion. Sofia Gonzalez's TikTok video playing on news broadcasts, James Mitchell's Instagram post shared by business networks, multiple passenger recordings creating comprehensive documentation of discrimination. This incident is being analyzed by federal aviation authorities, civil rights organizations, and corporate discrimination experts. Your actions are being used as a case study in abuse of authority. Kane watches video of himself pointing aggressively at Maya Thompson, demanding her removal without cause, threatening arrest for the crime of seeking equal treatment. "Captain, there's one more thing you need to understand about tonight's incident." Harrison pulls out corporate ownership documents. "The passenger you had arrested is Maya Thompson, founder and CEO of Cloud Tech Solutions. She purchased Skyline Airways 6 months ago through private investment firms." Kane stares at the documentation in shock. The quiet, dignified woman he dismissed as not belonging in first class owns the airline he works for. She owns the company. She owns 78% of Skyline Airways, Captain. You arrested your boss. The full impact hits Kane like a physical blow. He didn't just discriminate against a passenger. He discriminated against the owner while she was conducting undercover research into company culture. "Michael, I had no way of knowing." "That's exactly the point, Captain. You treated her the way you treat any black passenger who doesn't match your assumptions about who belongs in first class." Kane realizes Maya Thompson's strategic brilliance. She removed all markers of wealth and status to experience authentic discrimination. His bias revealed itself completely because he thought there would be no consequences. What happens now? Harrison slides termination paperwork across the table. Immediate dismissal for discrimination, filing false police reports, and conduct prejudicial to the company's reputation. Federal Aviation Administration has opened an investigation into your pilot certification. The Justice Department is reviewing civil rights charges. Kane's 20-year career evaporates in minutes. Military service, commercial pilot training, thousands of hours of flight experience, all destroyed by 47 minutes of documented prejudice. "Michael, I have a family, a mortgage, 20 years of clean service record. You have 20 years of service that's now being re-examined for patterns of discriminatory behavior. 3 formal complaints were found in your buried personnel file. Internal Affairs is reviewing every incident report you've filed involving minority passengers. Kane understands that his career isn't just over. His past actions are being scrutinized with new understanding of his biased worldview. Can I appeal this decision?" "Captain, you're facing federal civil rights charges. Your pilot's license is under FAA investigation. Multiple passengers recorded your discrimination. The incident is trending globally with 40 million views. There's no appealing video evidence of bias. Kane signs his termination papers, surrenders his pilot credentials, and walks out of Skyline Airways forever. By morning, his name will appear in aviation industry publications as an example of how prejudice destroys careers and companies. His final flight command was ordering the arrest of the woman who owned his airline. David Morrison learns about his viral infamy at 10:23 p.m. when his teenage daughter shows him her phone screen. His own face appears in TikTok videos viewed by millions, his voice clearly audible, making discriminatory comments supporting Jessica Parker's false accusations. Dad people are saying you're racist. They're sharing clips of you telling them to get the help out of here. David watches himself in Sofia Gonzalez's video champagne glass in hand, casually supporting the removal of a black passenger from first class. His entitled expression, his dismissive gestures, his collaboration with authority figures abusing their power, all captured in high definition and spread across social platforms. David Morrison, tech executive from Denver, shows his true colors, reads one viral tweet with his video attached. This is the type of passenger who enables airline discrimination. Another post declares featuring screenshots of his supportive comments. His LinkedIn profile becomes flooded with comments from professional contacts expressing disappointment and disgust. Business partners tag his company asking if his views represent corporate values. Industry colleagues distance themselves publicly from his behavior. At 10:45 p.m., David's phone rings. His boss at Morrison Technologies, the mid-size consulting firm where David serves as senior vice president. David: I'm watching video of you supporting discrimination against a fellow passenger. The company is receiving calls from clients threatening to end contracts. Tom, this is being blown out of proportion. I was just supporting the crew's authority. You were supporting false accusations against an innocent passenger. David: the audio recording proves she never threatened anyone. Your comments about getting the help out are indefensible. David realizes his casual racism, previously hidden within privileged circles, has been exposed to public scrutiny. The entitled worldview that felt normal among wealthy white passengers becomes ugly and shameful under viral video analysis. Tom, I can explain the context. David: there's no context that excuses discrimination. The passenger you helped remove owns the airline. You participated in the arrest of Maya Thompson, one of the most successful tech entrepreneurs in the country. The revelation stuns David. The woman he dismissed as not belonging in first class built a fortune that dwarfs his own comfortable but modest wealth. His assumptions about class, race, and worth have been exposed as completely wrong. She owns Skyline Airways, she owns the airline David, and tomorrow morning our company will announce that your views don't represent our values and that you're no longer employed here. David's professional life collapses as quickly as Jessica Parker's and Captain Kane's. But unlike airline employees facing internal discipline, David's punishment comes from social accountability. Customers, colleagues, and companies rejecting his discriminatory worldview. His country club membership gets revoked after viral videos spread to member social media feeds. His daughter's college friends recognize him from TikTok coverage. Business networking groups remove him from leadership positions. Professional organizations distance themselves from his behavior. By midnight, David Morrison's comfortable life of privilege has been shattered by 47 minutes of documented prejudice. His casual support for discrimination, previously hidden within elite circles, has been exposed to millions of people who refuse to accept such behavior. The passenger he helped remove will rebuild her airline with stronger anti-discrimination policies. David Morrison will rebuild his life, understanding that privilege doesn't protect against consequences when prejudice goes viral. CEO Carlos Rivera spends the night in Skyline's corporate office, surrounded by crisis management consultants, legal advisors, and communications specialists, trying to contain the worst PR disaster in airline industry history. But every strategy fails against the overwhelming evidence of discrimination and the viral spread of documentation. Sir, we've prepared 3 different apology statements. Communications Director Rachel Martinez explains. But none of them address the core issue. Your employees discriminated against your own boss. Carlos reviews social media metrics with growing despair. Skyline shame has become the top trending hashtag globally. Sofia Gonzalez's TikTok video has 45 million views. News outlets are calling it a case study in workplace discrimination. Stock price has fallen 34% in after-hours trading. What about the standard corporate response investigation pending isolated incident commitment to improvement? Legal counsel. Amanda Foster shakes her head. Sir, there's audio recording of everything. Multiple videos from different angles. Witness testimony from business passengers. This isn't an allegation, it's documented fact. Carlos watches news coverage of his own airline trending for discrimination. Aviation experts analyze the incident as evidence of broader industry problems. Civil rights leaders call for federal investigation. Customer boycotts organize across social platforms. How do we explain that I didn't know Maya Thompson owned the company? We don't crisis consultant. David Park responds. That admission makes us look incompetent. The better question is how we demonstrate authentic commitment to change. Carlos realizes standard corporate damage control is impossible when the victim owns the company and has documented everything with legal-grade evidence. Traditional crisis management assumes some level of plausible deniability or competing narratives. Maya Thompson's strategic documentation eliminates both options. What does Maya Thompson want? According to her legal team, she wants comprehensive cultural reform with external oversight, substantial investment in anti-discrimination training, and public accountability measures that go beyond standard apologies. Carlos understands he's being presented with terms for keeping his job, not suggestions for managing the crisis. If we implement her demands, what happens to our autonomy as company management, sir? She owns 78% of the airline. She doesn't need our consent for policy changes. She's offering us the opportunity to implement reforms collaboratively, rather than being replaced entirely. The strategic wisdom of Maya's approach becomes clear. Rather than simply firing everyone and imposing changes, she's using the viral discrimination incident to justify comprehensive reforms that will have industry-wide impact. Schedule an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning, Carlos decides. Full disclosure of the incident ownership revelation and reform proposals. If we're going to rebuild this company's reputation, we need Maya Thompson's leadership. By dawn, Carlos Rivera has transformed from CEO managing a crisis to lieutenant implementing his owner's vision for industry reform. The passenger his employees arrested for discrimination has become the leader who will rebuild his airline's culture. At 11:30 p.m., Maya Thompson enters Skyline Airways corporate headquarters for the first time as the revealed owner of the company. Security guards, maintenance staff, and late-shift employees watch in recognition as the woman from viral discrimination videos walks through the lobby she actually owns. Maya's first stop is the communications center where crisis management teams scramble to contain damage that cannot be contained. She addresses the room with the calm authority that built Cloud Tech Solutions into a Fortune 500 company. Good evening, everyone. I'm Maya Thompson, founder of Cloud Tech Solutions and majority owner of Skyline Airways. I assume you've all seen tonight's documentation. The room falls silent. Communications specialists who've spent hours crafting corporate responses to Maya's discrimination now face the woman they were trying to defend against. Ms. Thompson, we've prepared several apology statements for your review. Rachel Martinez offers hesitantly. Maya examines the drafted responses. Standard corporate language expressing regret without admitting fault, promising investigation, while defending company culture, offering compensation while denying wrongdoing. These apologies assume I'm a victim seeking settlement. I'm not. I'm an owner demanding reform. Maya pulls out her phone and scrolls through social media coverage. Millions of people sharing her story, expressing outrage at discrimination, calling for boycotts and federal investigation. Tonight's incident wasn't a failure of individual employees. It was evidence of cultural problems I purchased this airline to address. The discrimination I experienced is what our passengers face regularly. She addresses the assembled crisis team with the strategic vision that's built multiple successful companies. We're not managing this crisis. We're using it to rebuild the industry standard for passenger treatment. Tomorrow morning, we announce comprehensive policy reforms, mandatory bias training, external oversight, and passenger advocacy offices. Legal counsel Amanda Foster raises concerns. Ma'am, admitting cultural problems could increase liability for previous incidents. We're already facing that liability. The difference is whether we face it as a company trying to hide problems or a company committed to solving them. Maya's approach transforms the crisis from damage control into industry leadership. Rather than defending the indefensible skyline, we'll become the first airline to acknowledge discrimination problems and implement comprehensive solutions. What about competitor advantage? Our reforms could be seen as admission of industry-wide problems. Maya smiles. That's exactly what I want. If Skyline leads on anti-discrimination policies, other airlines will have to follow or explain why they're not implementing similar protections. The strategic brilliance becomes clear. Maya's documented discrimination experience creates moral authority to implement reforms other airlines cannot resist without appearing to support prejudice. Schedule press conference for tomorrow afternoon. I'll announce policy changes personally and challenge the industry to match our standards. As Maya leaves Skyline corporate headquarters at midnight, employees understand they're no longer working for an airline that tolerates discrimination. They're working for a company committed to becoming the industry standard for equal treatment. The passenger they arrested for sitting in first class has become the owner who will rebuild first class to welcome everyone. By midnight, Skyline Shame has generated over 100 million combined views across all platforms. Sofia Gonzalez's original TikTok video becomes the most shared discrimination documentation in social media history. The hashtag spreads beyond aviation into broader conversations about workplace bias, corporate accountability, and the power of witness documentation. Celebrity responses amplify the story beyond typical news cycles. Oprah tweets, Maya Thompson's courage in documenting discrimination while it happened to her shows the power of truth. Every company should learn from her response. Dwayne Johnson posts, respect to Maya Thompson for showing dignity under pressure and using her position to create change. This is leadership. Ryan Reynolds adds, note to self. Don't discriminate against passengers who might own your entire industry. Also, just don't discriminate. It's 2024, people. Professional athletes share personal experiences with similar discrimination. Stephen Curry tweets, I've been profiled at airports, hotels, restaurants. The difference is I had platforms to speak up. Maya Thompson is using her platform to protect people who don't. Musicians contribute to cultural conversation. John Legend posts, discrimination persists because people think there won't be consequences. Maya Thompson just changed that calculation forever. The viral spread extends beyond entertainment into business and political commentary. Sundar Pichai shares documenting bias when it happens creates accountability that changes entire industries. Powerful example of leadership. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets, this is why we need federal legislation against discrimination in transportation. Private solutions aren't enough when bias is this deep. Academic institutions incorporate the incident into curriculum. Maya Thompson. Case study becomes required reading in business ethics courses. Law schools analyze the documentation as example of evidence gathering, journalism program study. Sofia Gonzalez's witness documentation techniques. Corporate training programs use the incident to teach bias recognition. International coverage spreads the story globally. BBC analyzes American airline discrimination patterns. Canadian transport authorities review their own bias complaints. European airlines examine training procedures after viral coverage. Aviation industry publications worldwide discuss cultural reform needs. The combination of perfect documentation, strategic revelation, and social media amplification creates unprecedented pressure for industry-wide change. Maya Thompson's experience becomes a catalyst for examining discrimination patterns across all transportation industries. By morning, Skyline Airways faces a choice between leading industry reform or being destroyed by evidence of discrimination that can never be denied or forgotten. 6 months after Flight 447, Skyline Airways becomes the first airline to receive federal certification for its comprehensive bias prevention program. Maya Thompson's experience, documented with unprecedented detail and spread through viral social media coverage, has transformed not just one company, but an entire industry. The Thompson standards, named after Maya's approach to evidence-based reform, become the gold standard for transportation equality. Every Skyline employee undergoes 40 hours of bias recognition training developed in partnership with Harvard Business School's Diversity Research Center. The program focuses on unconscious bias assumption patterns and evidence-based decision-making, rather than appearance-based judgments. Maya implements technology solutions that eliminate opportunities for discrimination. Digital boarding programs require crew members to scan passenger documentation before making any seating decisions. Interaction protocols mandate verification before questioning passenger credentials. Body cameras on all crew members create accountability for passenger treatment. The Passenger Advocacy Office Maya establishes revolutionizes airline customer service. Independent advocates stationed at major hubs investigate discrimination complaints in real time. Anonymous reporting programs allow passengers and employees to document bias without fear of retaliation. External oversight from civil rights organizations ensures reforms create measurable change rather than cosmetic improvements. We're not just changing how one airline operates, Maya explains to CNN's Anderson Cooper during a primetime interview. We're proving that profitable companies can treat every passenger with dignity regardless of appearance, accent, or assumed economic status. The financial results support Maya's claims. Skyline's customer satisfaction ratings reach industry highs as passengers experience consistently respectful treatment. Social media mentions transform from discrimination complaints to praise for inclusive service. Stock price recovers completely within 8 months, reaching higher valuations than before Maya's ownership disclosure. Other airlines face impossible choices, implement similar reforms, or explain publicly why they're not adopting anti-discrimination measures that Skyline proves are both effective and profitable. American Airlines announces the Excellence in Equity program within 2 months. Delta establishes partnership with NAACP for bias training development. United creates passenger advocacy positions at all major hubs. JetBlue implements body camera requirements for crew interactions. The Federal Aviation Administration adopts Thompson standards as recommended practices for all commercial aviation. Department of Transportation creates new bias reporting requirements. Congress introduces legislation mandating discrimination prevention training across all transportation industries. Maya's strategic vision extends beyond aviation. Cloud Tech Solutions partners with hotel chains, rental car companies, and cruise lines to implement technology-based bias prevention. The company's discrimination detection algorithms become standard features in customer service training programs across industries. Bias is a technology problem that technology can solve. Maya explains to Harvard Business Review, "When we remove opportunities for assumption-based decisions, we create space for evidence-based service that treats every customer equitably." The Maya Thompson Foundation, established with proceeds from Maya's expanded business operations, provides legal assistance for discrimination victims across all industries. Within 1 year, the foundation processes over 3,000 complaints, and achieves resolution in 87% of cases without litigation. Legal aid programs partner with the Foundation to create rapid response teams for discrimination incidents. Civil rights organizations use Foundation resources to pursue comprehensive reform rather than individual case resolution. Law schools develop clinical programs focused on bias prevention rather than just discrimination prosecution. Maya's approach demonstrates that sustainable change requires corporate leadership rather than just legal pressure. By using her position as owner to implement reforms, she proves that equality is profitable when implemented comprehensively rather than cosmetically. The viral documentation of Maya's discrimination experience becomes required viewing in corporate diversity training programs worldwide. Business schools analyze her strategic response as a case study in crisis transformation. Leadership development programs study her approach to using personal experience as catalyst for institutional change. Sofia Gonzalez's TikTok documentation of Flight 447 transforms her from high school senior to nationally recognized civil rights advocate. Her follower count grows to 12 million as she uses her platform to highlight discrimination across industries and amplify voices of people facing bias without viral audiences. Maya Thompson taught me that witnessing isn't enough. You have to document and act. Sofia tells NPR during her freshman year at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism. She receives full scholarship funding from the Maya Thompson Foundation based on her demonstrated commitment to accountability journalism. Sofia's reporting focuses on discrimination in education, employment, and public accommodations. Her investigations expose bias patterns at universities, retail stores, and government offices. Her documentation techniques learned during the Skyline incident become training models for citizen journalists and civil rights advocates. The camera is a civil rights tool, Sofia explains to journalism students. When people know their behavior is being recorded and shared, they make different choices. Maya's recording and my video created accountability that changed an entire industry. Sofia's college internships include partnerships with Washington Post's Civil Rights Desk and CNN's investigative unit. Her senior project documents transportation discrimination across all modes of travel, creating comprehensive evidence for federal policy development. James Mitchell's transformation from silent witness to active ally demonstrates how the Flight 447 incident changed perspectives across racial and economic lines. The business consultant leaves his corporate consulting career to pursue law degree focusing on civil rights advocacy. Watching Maya's dignity under pressure made me realize that staying silent makes me complicit in discrimination, James explains to his law school application committee. I want to use my privilege and professional platform to support people who face what Maya faced. James's law school clinic work focuses on airline discrimination cases inspired by Maya's experience. He develops legal strategies for passengers who lack Maya's resources but face similar treatment. His business background provides credibility with corporate defendants who take settlements more seriously when proposed by someone who understands industry economics. After graduation, James joins the Maya Thompson Foundation's legal team specializing in transportation bias cases. His approach combines civil rights advocacy with business analysis, demonstrating how discrimination costs companies money while equality generates profit. Maya proved that doing the right thing is also doing the smart thing, James tells corporate executives during bias prevention seminars. Discrimination is expensive. Equality is profitable. Sandra Reeves, the flight attendant who witnessed discrimination but initially stayed silent, becomes director of Skyline's employee advocacy program. Her experience watching bias without intervening motivates comprehensive training that helps staff recognize and interrupt discrimination in real time. I knew what Jessica and Captain Kane were doing was wrong, but I was afraid to speak up. Sandra admits during company training sessions. Maya's courage in facing discrimination taught me that my fear of conflict was less important than passenger dignity. Sandra develops upstander intervention training that teaches employees how to support targeted passengers and challenge discriminatory behavior among colleagues. Her programs reduce bias complaints by 89% across Skyline operations. The training model spreads to other airlines through industry cooperation programs. Flight attendant unions incorporate Sandra's curriculum into professional development requirements. Aviation schools add bias intervention to core training programs. We learn how to handle medical emergencies, security threats, and mechanical problems. Sandra explains to industry conferences. Bias intervention should be just as routine as any other safety protocol. Rebecca Foster, the regional manager who fired Jessica Parker, becomes chief architect of Skyline's Cultural Transformation Initiative. Her experience managing employees with discriminatory attitudes informs comprehensive hiring training and accountability programs. Maya's documentation showed us that bias wasn't just individual bad behavior. It was cultural failure that management enabled. Rebecca explains to Harvard Business School case study researchers. Changing culture requires changing everything from hiring practices to performance evaluations. Rebecca's approach emphasizes proactive bias prevention rather than reactive discrimination punishment. Performance reviews include bias assessment metrics. Promotion criteria require demonstrated commitment to inclusive service. Management training focuses on creating cultures where discrimination becomes impossible rather than just prohibited. 2 years after Flight 447, the aviation industry has transformed beyond recognition. Maya Thompson's documented discrimination experience has become the catalyst for federal regulations, industry standards, and cultural changes that protect all passengers from bias-based treatment. The Thompson protocols implemented across all major airlines establish evidence-based passenger service requirements that eliminate opportunities for discrimination. Crew members must verify documentation before questioning passenger credentials. Seating changes require supervisory approval and documented safety justifications. Police involvement requires specific regulatory violations rather than crew discretion. Federal oversight ensures compliance across all carriers. Department of Transportation conducts quarterly bias audits at every major airport. FAA certification requires annual discrimination prevention training for all customer-facing employees. Justice Department partnership with airlines creates rapid response for civil rights violations. Customer satisfaction data demonstrates that equality improves service for all passengers. When crew members treat every passenger with respect, overall service quality increases. When bias elimination becomes standard practice, customer complaints decrease across all categories. Industry economics support equality initiatives. Airlines implementing comprehensive bias prevention see higher customer retention, improved social media reputation, and increased business traveler loyalty. Companies that resist change face consumer boycotts, negative publicity, and competitive disadvantage. Maya's technology solutions become industry standard equipment. CloudTech's bias detection algorithms monitor customer service interactions across airlines, hotels, rental car companies, and cruise lines. Real-time analysis identifies discrimination patterns before they become viral incidents. Technology doesn't eliminate bias, but it eliminates the opportunity to hide bias. Maya explains during her keynote speech at the International Air Transport Association annual conference. When interactions are monitored, documented, and analyzed, discrimination becomes impossible to ignore or excuse. The Maya Thompson Institute for Transportation Equity, established at Georgetown University Law Center, conducts research on bias patterns across all travel industries. Their findings inform federal policy development, corporate training programs, and academic curriculum on discrimination prevention. Academic research demonstrates that Maya's approach to evidence-based reform creates sustainable change compared to traditional legal pressure methods. Companies that implement comprehensive bias prevention maintain improvements over time, while companies that only respond to litigation revert to discriminatory practices. Maya Thompson didn't just change one airline, concludes Professor David Williams of Georgetown's Civil Rights Law Clinic. She created a replicable model for using documentation, social media, accountability, and corporate ownership to transform entire industries. International adoption of Thompson standards spreads beyond American aviation. European Union transportation authorities implement similar requirements. Canadian airlines adopt bias prevention training based on Maya's programs. Aviation industry organizations worldwide study her approach to cultural transformation. The long-term impact extends beyond transportation into broader corporate accountability. Business schools teach the Flight 447 case study as example of how authentic leadership addresses discrimination. Corporate training programs use Maya's experience to demonstrate profit-driven equality initiatives. Maya Thompson's 47 minutes of documented discrimination have created permanent change that protects millions of travelers from bias-based treatment. Her strategic response to personal discrimination has become a template for transforming entire industries through evidence, accountability, and economic incentives. The passenger who was arrested for sitting in first class has become the owner who redefined what first class means for everyone. The empty seat 1A on Flight 447 now bears a small bronze plaque that reads simply, "Reserved for dignity." Every passenger deserves respect regardless of appearance. It serves as a daily reminder to crew members and passengers that worth isn't determined by wealth. Dignity isn't earned through dress codes, and justice doesn't require a uniform to recognize humanity. Sofia Gonzalez, now completing her sophomore year studying investigative journalism, often shares photos of that plaque during her travels, adding the caption, "Still recording, still standing up." Her documentation techniques have been credited with exposing bias in university admissions, retail discrimination, and workplace harassment. She keeps Maya's phone number in her emergency contacts, knowing that accountability journalism requires both courage and community. Jessica Parker moved back to her hometown in Ohio and works at a nonprofit organization focused on bias education and community reconciliation. She rarely speaks publicly about Flight 447, but privately credits the incident with forcing her to confront prejudices she never recognized she held. Her community service includes speaking to corporate diversity training programs about how unconscious bias becomes harmful action. David Morrison lost his corporate position but discovered purpose volunteering with civil rights organizations, teaching bias awareness workshops to business executives who remind him of his former self. Maya Thompson still flies commercial regularly, often in economy class, always dressed casually, always ready to document when necessary. She maintains the original 47-minute recording in a private folder labeled "The Day Everything Changed." The audio file has never been released publicly, but its existence ensures that truth remains protected forever. When asked by Fortune magazine about her legacy, Maya responds simply, "I didn't just buy an airline to fix it. I proved that accountability doesn't require permission. It just requires someone brave enough to press record. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that dignity isn't determined by appearance and that everyone deserves respect regardless of how they dress or where they come from, then I need you to do 3 things. First, hit that like button. It helps spread these important stories to more people who need to hear them. Second, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss stories about justice, courage, and people standing up for what's right. And third, share this video with someone in your life who believes in equality and accountability, because change happens when we amplify voices that demand better. Have you ever witnessed discrimination like this? Have you found the courage to speak up when someone was being treated unfairly? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else to find their voice when it matters most. And remember, in a world where everyone has a camera, every moment of injustice can become a moment of accountability. Use your voice, use your vote, and use your platform, no matter how small, to build the world we all deserve to live in. Thanks for watching, and remember, Justice doesn't always come with a uniform, but it always comes with the truth.